Hey guys, it's me, your friend Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to Kendall Hates Horror! Yeah.
Warning, some viewers may find the following footage deeply disturbing.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Welcome to my world, bitch.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I like a little killing now and then. What's wrong with that?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
We're just here to try and make you feel things, so.
You did it. You got it going.
I'm hoping that the longer this goes on, the less anxiety you'll have.
No,
I
I don't.
not at all.
I mean,
That's fair, because I'm anxious about flying, and it doesn't matter how many times I get getting ready to get on an airplane. I'm still like, nope, I can't do it. Nope, I can't do it, and I still have yet to have an actual plane crash. So,
yeah, I have to do that in March, and I'm already getting sweaty palms.
Where are you
over
going in
that
March?
motherfucker.
New York.
New York.
For what?
Oh, you don't know? Jazz is singing at Carnegie Hall.
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah.
You know how you get to Carnegie Hall?
Apparently, your dad flies you to New York.
They used to say it was practice.
Yeah. Now it's just you just get on an airplane and Kendall takes you there.
Fucking Andy Kaufman performed there.
Yeah.
That was like one of his last performances before he died. Was he did a one-man show at Carnegie Hall?
Yeah, and he didn't even pull out Tony Clifton during the show.
No. Yeah. Just as usual, bongos. It was a critically acclaimed performance.
Yeah, my daughter, she's only 13.
Yeah.
And she's already got a rap sheet with singing. Like, if she was to make a singing resume, it would be like this. I mean,
wow.
She sang the national anthem at soccer games, and she was in La Boheme. It's a
La
opera.
Boheme, yeah.
La Boheme. It's an opera at Century 2.
Yeah.
Actually sang in it. Now she's singing at Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the talent doesn't fall far from the tree.
I don't know.
She took a song that he wrote and redid it.
Yes.
Wow.
Her first song that she performed for, she was in the Wichita Children's Choir. And so the first thing they did, they were like, we're doing this big showcase. It's like a fundraiser thing, and you could do solos for it, where she tried out when she was little bitty. I mean, she was young, and I showed her this song that I wrote on the piano, and it was just...
So how long has she been singing?
Since she was like 5.
Yeah,
wow.
ever since I've known.
But she's always played piano and sang.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
When she was 5, because I showed her that song that I wrote, and I made it a little easier, but she took off after that.
Yeah,
wow.
She basically did it over and did it almost like a ballady Beyonce song type of thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I was like, and I wrote it when I was in college, and I was like, I can't believe you took that stupid piece of shit and made it something. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, no way.
Took my shit and made it cool.
Yeah, like that is your song. I never.
No, you're gonna get a writing credit when it comes out on CD. Eventually. Yeah, I'll get it.
I don't want one.
No, you deserve one.
Did you?
You don't get anything out of it. It's not like you're gonna get money or anything.
Did you teach her to play piano, or your dad?
Yes,
You did.
I got her started. And then I know that I'm not smart enough to teach piano lessons.
But your dad is.
Well, Dad also helped her a little bit, and then I got her in private lessons.
Yeah.
She took those for a long time.
Yeah. All right, welcome everybody to today's episode of Kendall Hates Horror. I'm your host, Grant. I'm sitting across the table from our horror aficionado and lead medical examiner, Evan.
Hello.
And over here is the uniquely and broadly talented and broad-shouldered Kendall.
Whoa.
Ooh. Hello, guys. I am not broad-shouldered. I am a very small, fun-sized man.
Today I had to get something off the top shelf for him.
Oh God!
He said, "Hey, can you come over here and get that off the top
You
shelf?"
could fit me in your carry-on on an airplane.
Yeah, he's like one of those teacup
on
dogs.
travel
You're really
size.
only paying for Jazzy's ticket, and you're just going to be in her backpack.
Yeah, I'll be in her duffel bag.
Well, today we have. This is probably going to be the first one to get you. Okay.
Oh, you have stated.
We've softballed it with Sleepaway Camp, which is very campy. You know, we softballed it with Killer Clowns, which is fun and clownish, and even went into a psychological thriller with Get Out. But today we have a doozy.
Yeah, we are doing 2016's Autopsy of Jane Doe.
I watched this one yesterday, just, kind of to prepare for it. And I still get a little, I got done with it and I was like, man, it's still a banger.
I watched it. Well, okay, so I watched it yesterday as well. But I didn't watch the film proper. I watched the last drive-in version of the film because it's on Shudder. So anytime something comes on Shudder, Joe Bob usually, we're going to do this movie.
Yeah.
So he did that, and I fell asleep, not because I was tired, but also because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I woke up to another movie with a lady screaming. I was like, oh, what's this?
Something from my dreams.
Yeah. It was directed by Norwegian director Andre Overdahl. He did like one other film. I think it was called like Troll Hunter. It was like a found footage type movie.
Yes, but since Autopsy of Jane Doe came out, he also directed, and this it didn't do really well in the theaters, which neither did this one. But he also
we
directed,
can talk about why that is too.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He directed 2023's Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is the perspective of Dracula as he's on the ship sailing from.
I've heard good things about it.
It's actually really good.
I didn't want to see it because I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's definitely a horror style. Like, you don't get the romanticized Dracula. You get the monster Dracula.
Yeah.
Don't want to see it.
And
That's why I'm looking forward to seeing Nosferatu.
Don't want to see it. Guys, hear me out.
We might actually.
Hear me out. Let's take this one off and let's watch Step Brothers. How about that?
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen this before too.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen Step Brothers before. I think we could make a wonderful episode
really
out of Step Brothers.
Let me check my notes. Doesn't really fit the format.
Let me think. This isn't Kendall Hates Comedy.
Because it would be a boring podcast.
Yeah, I'm really hating horror right now. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the trailer.
Actually, when Evan told me that you watched the trailer, I was like, I don't remember actually watching the trailer for this movie, so I'm gonna go back and watch the trailer too. And I was like, oh yeah, I can see why he was
The
like.
trailer is very effective. I don't think the movie's nowhere near as scary as the trailer
No,
is.
yeah, the trailer makes it
I'm
way
like,
scarier than it actually.
Dude,
It makes me like,
there's
I gotta
no
see this
way.
movie.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those? Right when I watched it, I imagined myself. Have you ever seen those fainting goats?
Yes.
Like, I just had visions of myself. Like, I think that's gonna scare me so fucking bad. I'm gonna be a fainting goat. They're gonna be like slapping me to wake me up.
Well, you'll have Drax to cuddle with.
Yeah.
He'll probably saddle right up next to you on the couch because Shane is going to join us in watching the movie too, because he's never seen it, and I'm really like, yeah, Evan and I have seen this movie, and you've never seen this movie either, but you're coming at it as a, I don't want to say the word coward, kind of
Yeah,
like
that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm a fucking chicken, dude.
But
I'm coward.
Shane is another like huge horror fan. So I'm really excited for another huge horror fan to watch it for the first time, just to see what their reaction is. Because I remember the first time I watched it, I came upstairs and I was like, Evan, did you watch have you ever seen the Autopsy of Jane Doe? He's like, oh yeah, that movie rules. And I was like, oh my God, that movie is so cool. Because that's the thing is, it wasn't scary. I thought it was smart, and I thought it was.
It's a brilliant fucking script.
I thought it was
so good.
I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, it was.
I can't feel my face right now.
Speaking of, it was written by Ian Goldberg and Richard Nang, and They pretty much conceived it. This script was what they call it was Hollywood blacklisted, which isn't a bad thing. It's basically a script that doesn't have a producer yet, but it was like one of the top scripts. It was like number 2, and people were kind of passing this around, but they could never find a producer for it. So they found this guy named Eric Garcia. Says he saw the script on the blacklist, and he's like somebody needs to make this movie. He's like, fuck it, I'll make this movie. And he was like, I'll give it a go, but I've never produced a film. So he contacted his friend, which I believe his name was Fred Berger, and he ended up becoming the co-producer, but he gave him a lot of pointers on, hey, this is what you do and stuff like that. They finally got their director, which was Andre Overdahl, and they basically what happened. They made the movie for like $4 million. Yeah, it ended up making about $6 million in the box office. It was not distributed at all.
Yeah, it was a really small release.
So they did it backwards. It's an independent film. Usually when you make an independent film, you take it to a film festival, hoping that a distributor will pick it up. It's what Kevin Smith did with Clerks. He took it to, I think, Toronto, or it might have been Sundance. I think it was Sundance. He took it to Sundance. They saw it. It won awards at the film festival, and then Miramax was like, "We'll fucking distribute this movie." What they did with the Autopsy of Jane Doe is they got a distributor first, and they got it from
which is IFC Films.
IFC Films, and it was streamed on their streaming service thingy,
which is now merged into I think AMC Plus.
Yeah. And then
AMC bought a bunch.
They
of them.
took it to the Toronto.
Shutter.
They took it to the Toronto International Film Festival. It was just absolutely critically acclaimed at the Toronto Film Festival, and they were like, fuck.
Yeah. We could have gotten a wide release on this.
They could have got a wide release. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Paranormal. Paranormal went to very few theaters in like college towns. Spielberg saw it. He said, hey, let's make some changes to this movie. I'll put a little bit more money into the distribution, and we'll get this in every theater around America.
Yeah.
That's what independent filmmakers usually do. They just kind of did it backwards, but some of the people that were doing it were just inexperienced.
Yeah.
So it just did.
IFC also, I think at that time, I mean, they're still a relatively new company, but they were like, this came out 8 years ago, so they were like probably only about 5 years after their first creation, I think, somewhere in that area. So they were very inexperienced as opposed to a place, like Paramount or I hate to even say the forbidden word, but it's in reference to the other company, the Weinstein Company. So you can talk about his brother.
Yeah. The other one is fine.
The other one's fine. The other one can go fuck himself.
Can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
But it stars Emile Hirsch. People.
Now here's my thing. I'm not a huge fan of Emile Hirsch. This is probably, and I'm going to get a lot of hate from this. It's khhorrorpodcast at gmail.com if you want to yell at me. I am not a fan of Alpha Dog. I thought that Emile Hirsch in that movie was
a lot of the critics weren't either. It's
over.
It became a cult classic. I don't think he's the best thing about it.
He was cheesy in that movie. So this is actually my
Timberlake steals that movie.
He does
fucking fantastic,
and so does Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, Anton Yelchin's great. Ben Foster rules in that movie too.
This is probably my favorite movie that has Emile Hirsch in it.
It's not my favorite only because Into the Wild exists. Into the Wild is a fantastic film. It's a kind of an artsy film.
I'm not a huge fan of Girl Next Door.
It is fine. I mean, Paul Dano is great in that movie.
He's funny.
I haven't seen any of these.
Wow.
Into the Wild is great, especially if you're a Pearl Jam fan, because Eddie Vedder did the entire soundtrack for that movie.
I'm gonna have to watch that because I'm a huge Eddie Vedder fan.
It's really good. And then it also stars Brian Cox, but I think we'll talk about that in your facts.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
My facts.
Yeah, and then it also stars Owen Kelly, who plays Jane Doe.
Jane Doe.
She might be the best actor in this movie.
She
actually puts in the best performance.
Is the best actor in this movie because she's first of all, she's pretty much on screen the entire the entire time, and she has the best. I think she has the best lines.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Grant.
That's a joke.
She doesn't have any lines.
She has 0 lines.
Well, I haven't seen the movie yet. So I don't know.
She plays Jane Doe. She plays the corpse.
Yeah. She's the corpse. She's an Irish model, I believe. She also studied ballerina.
Yep, she's a contortionist.
Yoga.
But the reason why she got hired for this, and I may be stealing one of your fun facts.
Nope.
But she was hired because she's actually a yoga master, so she's able to control her breathing. So
So it looked like she could make it look like
she
was
could
dead,
make it.
but-
She could take very shallow breaths and make it look like she was just.
She laid on that slab for 5 days.
Yep.
While they filmed this movie.
for 8 hours at a time.
Apparently,
Eight to 12.
Andre Everdahl said that she was the glue that held everybody together. She made everybody comfortable.
Yeah.
Because she was the one that was naked.
The entire time.
The entire time. And then also Brian...
And acting dead.
And Brian Cox is performing an autopsy on her in the film. And so apparently she made everybody at ease, made everybody feel comfortable.
She told jokes, made people just feel like, hey, okay, so I'm naked. Whatever.
Yeah. It was a very cool set because of that.
Yeah.
They also this movie takes place in rural Virginia. And it was filmed in the United Kingdom in a warehouse that they built they built the Tilden House and the morgue and basically the countryside. It was like in Canterbury, I believe, which is like right outside of East London. It's like a rural part of London and stuff like that. And they did a great job of making this look American. And apparently, I think Eric Garcia said it. I was watching this on Joe Bob. He was like, I don't think Andre Everdahl's ever been to Virginia.
No. It literally looks nothing. The countryside looks nothing like Virginia. I even noticed when I was watching it back, because I knew it had been filmed in England. One of the vans they got as like the coroner vans, you actually see the driver get out on the proper side. like they put in a little bit of detail and they're like, okay, this is supposed to be in America, so make sure that this person gets out over here.
on the right,
on the left side. Yeah, on the left side.
But they had actual coroners on set to make sure that they did everything exactly how they were supposed to do it. It was in the right order. They were using the proper terminology. Apparently, Eric Garcia and the writers, they actually took a tour of the LA County morgue. And apparently there's a room where they just keep all the bodies before they start doing the autopsy, and they're just in fucking cellophane. Yeah.
There is also...
Fuck.
Are you a...
Good Lord.
Are you Game of Thrones fan?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I just have never seen it.
Then the reference would be completely lost on you. It also stars
What's his name?
Michael McElhatton. He played
Roose.
He's the party planner. He played Roose Bolton in
the party
planner. Yeah,
it's really funny.
It's a reference to the Red Wedding.
Yeah. If you've ever
Let's watch that.
Oh God, I'm so tempted, but no. Actually, only if we can start on the Red Wedding episode.
Okay, fine.
You have no reference to anything.
You have no idea what we're talking about.
That's great.
It could be so much worse.
No.
What? Let's have you get invested in all of these characters so much and then kill them immediately. Let's have you love these characters.
And for anybody who's going to yell at us for spoiling the Red Wedding, fuck off. The Red Wedding came out in like 2015.
And I didn't say who got killed. I just said some people.
Yeah, the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones came out in 2015. If you haven't watched it by now, you deserve to get spoiled, to get fucked.
Yeah, you should be dragged through the streets and beaten.
You can skip season 8 though.
Now we will introduce Kendall's fun facts.
Yay.
So tell us.
So tell me, fellas.
Was that the studio audience?
That was yay.
So now I know you're pissing yourself with excitement over this. Did you actually find any fun facts about this?
I did.
All right.
But I for the other one. Well, anyway, the other times I've done this, I usually have front and back. I was basically only able to find front.
Oh, slacker.
Only a single page.
Because I think just mostly because I'm scared as fuck.
I mean, look at how much research I did.
Yeah, that's really good. Unlike most other movies, was actually shot in chronological order.
Yep. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was.
You get a gold
shot
star.
beginning, so I don't have to watch it.
No.
Okay.
You just get a gold star.
You're gonna get a gold star for watching it.
Like you stated, he had never really produced a movie, and he was like, well, I don't know. It would just been a mess if they tried to go out of order.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm just gonna shoot this movie in complete order.
It actually works to the movie's advantage.
It does. Yeah. Also, logistically, I think it wouldn't work if they shot it out of order.
The resetting up of stuff would have just been a nightmare. Yeah. A nightmare for setting up those shots.
So, like you stated, the movie was on the blacklist. And it was taken off of there. And you already explained all that, so I don't have to. But there was examples of some other movies that have come off the blacklist were movies called Slumdog Millionaire. Have you heard of this?
Yep.
Yeah,
It was Academy Award nominated. Dev Patel.
Dev Patel.
And The Revenant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come off the blacklist.
Yeah. Now the blacklist, like I said, it sounds bad, but it's not. It's just
it's a script that's unattached to a producer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's interesting. This was so it was on the blacklist in 2013. It actually took them 3 years to make it. Yep. I wrote that down so I didn't have to count on my fingers, but I still did. Some other movies that were pulled off the blacklist that year were A Monster Calls.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
no, never heard of that one.
Me neither. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, heard of that one.
American Sniper.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That was the Tom Hanks one, right?
Yeah,
That was
Tom Hanks and what's his name from The Americans was in that.
Michael.
The main guy from Americans.
Matthew Rhys.
Matthew Rhys. Yeah, he was like the guy that was interviewing Fred Rogers. Yeah, it's a really good movie. Have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't.
It's great. It's a great.
Did you watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when you were a kid?
Yes. Now I want to see it. It's just I haven't gotten around to it.
It's a good film.
I have to segment out times of days just to watch movies with you guys.
So listen, I think for a palate cleanser, you're gonna watch this movie tonight.
Yeah.
Tomorrow,
fuck yes, I am.
Tomorrow, you need to sit down and watch some Bluey or something, or some
Bluey makes me cry.
Or how about
some of them are like
some Paw Patrol, some Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, or Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, just as a palate cleanser.
I think. Well, I'm gonna go to work to cleanse my palate.
Yeah, you need some eye. You're gonna need some eye bleach.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You're making this so much better.
Sorry.
So another Martin Sheen was originally cast for this movie, but scheduling issues led to where he was not able to be in the movie. But he was actually the first pick for it.
I think it was a better move.
It was a better move.
I like Martin Sheen.
Brian Cox is so much better.
Brian Cox is so because Brian, I was saying this to Kendall earlier today. Brian Cox has this crazy knack for either playing an absolute garbage person, just a fucking monster, to a cuddly teddy bear. You take him from this movie or say Red Eye. I don't know if anybody here has seen Red Eye with Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy. It's good.
I know it's good. I just haven't gotten around.
He plays her dad, and he's very cuddly in that movie. And then you watch things like Braveheart or
hey,
he was good in that.
Hey,
he's great.
He's not a bad guy in Braveheart. He's just what does he do? He goes, he raises this child as his own, and he takes him all over the world. He teaches him fucking Latin and French and all this other stuff. He was raising someone who was going to be strong.
Yeah. What is so great, because I just don't think Michael Sheen could have been as relatable as he is in this movie. And being able to tell the story that they tell
throughout
this
film. Martin Sheen or Michael Sheen?
Oh, did I say Michael?
You said Michael.
I'm sorry, I meant Martin.
I was pretty sure it was Martin
Michael
Sheen.
Sheen would have been
I wrote
weird.
down Martin. Maybe I screwed
Well, I only been weird because he's actually not that much older than Emil Hirsch.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I was like Michael Sheen. No, Martin Sheen. Yeah, I just don't think Martin Sheen is good at the things that he does.
He is. Yeah, he was.
But I don't think he would have worked for this movie. He works for Apocalypse Now.
He works for Apocalypse Now. He works for Wall Street.
Yeah.
But
I just don't think. I think Brian, but I also think it's this chemistry between Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch just works.
Yeah.
it works really well. You feel like they're father and son.
They do. They have a very father and son relationship.
But not a contentious relationship.
No.
They have things that are going on
Yeah.
that they need to deal with, but it's not like they hate each other.
Yeah.
They have a very loving relationship, and that's what I like about it. Do you have any other facts?
Yeah, this one is the reason I would rather watch Step Brothers than this movie. Stephen King was impressed by the movie. He said it's great, and what he said in this fucking Twitter tweet. You son of a bitch. Twitter tweet.
That is such a dad way to say it.
Good Lord.
What he said on this tweet machine, it really vexed me.
What he said in that twatter.
Dad. Dad. Hey, Dad. Dad.
He said, watch it, but not alone.
He did.
And you're not.
Fuck!
You're not watching alone.
Stephen King said that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
You know what Stephen King used to write before he wrote horror novels?
What?
Children's books.
Okay.
He just didn't make any money out of it, and he's like, I gotta find a way to make some money.
Not
I'm gonna write some horror novels.
Not helping.
Yeah.
This movie only made 10,474 doll hairs in the United States.
Yep. That's because it had a shit release in the United States.
Yeah, because it had two separate releases. It had the film festival release, which was like October or something like that, and then it had the actual film release in December.
Yeah.
It was barely put out into the theaters. Like, I think Eric Garcia was like, I saw it in the theaters. I don't know how many theaters it went to.
But anyway.
It did not go to any theaters here in Wichita.
No. So we're ready to go watch this?
I think so. Kendall's going to have to go to the bathroom again. I'm keeping that in.
That was clear as fucking day.
It was clear as day.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am going to be drunk for this.
If any of our listeners want to watch the movie with us, you can either watch it on Shudder or watch it on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, yes.
Just get Shudder. Shudder's awesome.
Yeah.
So we will return here shortly.
Yeah, if you're listening along and you want to watch the movie along with us, pause the podcast right now and come back after the musical interlude if you have already seen it and just want to get to the good stuff. And just remember that after the music, it's going to be spoilers. So come back and join us. And we're back.
Oh, Jesus.
Ladies and gentlemen, that actually was not the sound of a beer opening. That was the sound of Kendall's butthole finally releasing. And unclench. So, Kendall, you powered your way through that one.
Good Lord.
No, you were a little pacey.
Well, the personality type I am, when I get freaked out like that, I have to stand.
Yep.
So I watched most of that movie standing.
Yeah. You sat for about 30 minutes of it.
I did. Through the first part, the first 30 minutes of it is like, just kind of building up to it. But when...
as soon as the shit started
when
going down.
shit hits the fan, we gotta stand.
That rhymed.
Yeah. Oh, did it?
Yeah, you're
Fan,
a poet and
stand?
you didn't know it.
It kind of rhymed.
Oh, fuck, there's a foot. That was probably
That was the best.
That was my moment where he broke me.
Oh, fuck, there's a foot.
Oh, fuck, there's a foot.
God.
But I tout you, about your, acting chops and all that stuff, and what you bring to the podcast. You kept making the comment several times. You're like, "Oh my God, this girl is so good.
Yes.
Oh my God, she's good," and she does nothing.
Fantastic, but yeah, she does nothing. But at the same time, I made the comment they are all over her. Basically, and actually doing an autopsy like they would be if she was actually dead. And she literally made you believe she was dead. Like there was nothing that she did that made me believe that. Oh, okay. Well, she
It
just
worked.
kind of
It worked better than using a dummy.
Yeah.
I don't think if they used a dummy, it would have been as good.
And
Fucking insane, dude.
the director, they had toyed around with the idea of using a prosthetic, of using a dummy, using a fake body, but that with the amount of close-ups they were going to do during the movie, like you notice how many times they went to just her face, they were like, it wouldn't look right, like it would just look cheesy. We want a real person there.
She doesn't have other facial expressions, but it feels like she's emoting things through the screen, and it's so crazy.
Especially in the last like 10 minutes of the movie when
She completely changes because she becomes like at the when they focus in on her at the end, she feels evil.
well at the beginning of the movie
she does change expression.
she does a little bit because
Her mouth isn't open.
the beginning of the movie, her facial expression, without her actually changing her facial expression, the beginning of the movie they portray her as like she's the victim of something terrible, and like they're trying to find out so they can punish whoever the person is. Towards the end of the movie, when you get down to find out what she is, basically she's a cursed object. She becomes the villain.
But she even
Wasn't the
she's
villain.
still a victim.
She's a victim, yeah.
But she just was able to almost like get vengeance on the people that did, not the people, but man, to an extent, you know,
Yeah,
like to
Yeah, this is totally a
oh yeah, like I think Joe
women oppression.
Joe Bob said he's like I feel very misogynistic when I watch this movie just because
Yeah.
it feels like she's getting because if you notice she's surrounded by nothing but men.
Yeah.
With the exception of Austin's girlfriend Emma
And the female cop.
and the female cop, but for the most part, this movie is all men.
Well, one of the victims in the massacre
Was a woman.
we know it was a woman.
Was a
But
woman.
also there was one woman that was a victim in the Tilden house too, which was Emma.
Emma, yeah, but it's these two men, you know, dissecting her, you know, to an extent, and it's her getting her revenge. Not that
The Tildens didn't do
not
anything.
that Tommy and Austin deserved vengeance because they're very sympathetic characters.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they feel they're trying to figure out what happened to her, and they're very sympathetic towards her.
And Tommy even says at the very end, "Tell me what I will help you."
Yeah,
like,
I will help you.
Yeah.
Right before she kills the
Yeah,
fuck out of
he's
him.
just like
He was like,
I-
I'm gonna. He was looking in her eyes,
Yeah.
and he was like, I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to fight you. Just don't hurt him.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's a kind of a neat little read on the movie. I don't even know if it's really that deep, but people might kind of miss that point because that's the when we find out that it's, you know, it has to do with the Salem witch trials, that comes, anybody that has done any research or any reading about the Salem witch trials, they know that's what that, you know, that's what that was. It was
Mass hysteria.
It was mass hysteria, but it was pointed towards women.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it was also pointed towards. It was a lot of infighting in Salem Village.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
also pointed at like, okay, so last podcast on the left did a fantastic five-part episode on the Salem witch trials, which I highly recommend anybody who's interested in the Salem witch trials go listen to their podcast because it's very, very deep, and they dispel a bunch of rumors like the ergot poisoning.
Yeah. Just for the names alone, it's worth the listen.
No, her name. Well, I know we're gonna have a thing here, but her name was unfortunately Dorcas Horde. Now, as a
What'd you
person,
say? What'd you-
Dorcas Horde.
You said that really quick.
Dorcas Horde.
Dorcas Horde.
There was a woman.
Dorcas?
Dorcas Horde.
Whore.
There was multiple Dorcases in Salem Village, by the way, just to let you know. Now, as an adult, I don't think there's anything to make fun of in that name.
I do. There's a lot to make
Yeah.
fun of about that name,
As a mature adult.
Well,
of which I am not. Yeah, but
there's still a lot of boy left in me.
but
Yeah.
I mean, the only
Oh,
thing
I know. You held my hand during part of that movie.
No, I did not. You held my hand.
Well, okay.
and the only
you
thing
were
that
struggling.
I can
All
really,
right, I welcomed it.
that I can really kind of compare it to, and it's not even close to the comparison, would be people that grew up in the 80s, that grew up around Satanic Panic. You know, it didn't get to that level, but it was mass hysteria over things that were not like, calm down.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to picket Silent Night, Deadly Night just because they have murderous Santa.
The thing that you can there's one simple phrase that you can use to sum up the Salem witch trials. Everything sucked and life was hard, and everybody was pissed off about it.
Yeah.
And that's just how it happened.
It's just crazy to think that was a real thing. That really happened. And
I've been there.
You know, we've literally joked about it. I mean, you know, Monty Python. We brought that up, and fucking even movies like this where we fantasticalize it is if that's a word, fantasticalize. Sure. Okay, but people really lived that shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's fucking crazy.
There's a movie about it.
Yeah, it's not very historically accurate.
Yeah, we just watched it.
No,
yeah,
no, I was speaking about the Crucible.
The Crucible. With,
it was a book and also a movie. The book's really good.
I play too.
Yeah, I play as well.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's one of the very few Daniel Day-Lewis performances where he didn't earn an Oscar.
I'm just like, people were literally putting it on people like you're a fucking witch, and then they brutally killed them. You know, because
they had to explain,
or burn them at the stake.
They had to try to explain why our lives are so bad. So let's blame it.
Obviously,
on
it was the devil.
Witchcraft. It has to be the devil.
That is a common misconception about the Salem witch trial. Nobody was actually burned at the stake. All of them were hung, except for one, his name was Giles Corey. He was pressed to death.
Yeah.
I can go on. I do
like stoned almost. Or?
Well, what they would do is they laid him down on the ground and they'd stake him out, lay him down on the ground, stake him out by basically tying his arms and legs out in a outstretched position. They lay a piece of wood on top of him, and then it was to try and coerce a confession. They would lay a heavy stone on top of him,
right.
And then they would ask him to confess, and then he literally told them to fuck off all the time because Giles Corey was just a troll. So they would just keep putting rocks on top of him, and these heavy rocks. And the last words that he said was, "More weight," before they put the last one on, and he was crushed.
Yeah, he was crushed to death.
That was the only one. That wasn't
nobody.
Well, that's like stoning. I mean, in biblical times.
Well, stoning was they actually.
We talked about. I mean, a lot of people think that stoning in like biblical times was like just throwing rocks at them until they died.
I thought that was what stoning was.
But it was the same thing as what you just described. There could either be throwing rocks at them or they set rocks on them until they suffocated.
Okay. Well, because Mary Magdalene, they were trying to stone her to death.
That's the most prominent stoning that we think about. But they also did what you just described.
Yeah, I mean,
can we just say that human civilization is barbaric and cruel?
Always has been.
For no fucking reason.
Well,
I mean, just because of like. For reasons like
there is a reason.
They want.
There's a book that tells them that it's okay.
Yeah.
It was in the movie.
Yeah.
There's a certain book that people read that tells them that it's
okay to be barbaric. Yeah.
There's several books.
Believe what you want to believe.
Several different things.
If you believe, more power to you. Just know that you're wrong.
No. If faith helps you get through your day
fair.
For some reason, You do what you need to do to get through the day.
But the minute it starts hurting someone else, fuck off.
I'm out.
Well, I can't say that I'm all the way.
You're like in the middle.
I'm in the middle. I think there is something. I can't. I mean, I've been through enough shit now where I'm like, why? You know what I mean? But it's like. I believe there's something, but it's just I don't know. I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. I mean, like I said, if that helps you in your life, more power to you.
Cool. Yeah.
Like you said, once it starts hurting somebody else, you can get fucked.
There it is. That's what I was about to say. If you judge someone or you're putting. Yeah, basically putting judgment on somebody because of what they believe, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like like I know so many good people that have no they have no concept of the way I grew up. Mm-hmm. And that's just because I grew up here and I was taught this. and then they grew up there and they were taught that.
Well,
so
that's
it was like
that's person to person.
yeah. So it was like but there are people that literally hate other people for that, and it's like it's so asinine. It's just insane.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I'm not going to judge you for your beliefs. Please don't judge me for my
Yeah,
non-beliefs.
Or my lack of belief.
Exactly. All of us sitting here at this table,
I
we definitely have different beliefs. I mean, the three of us.
Yeah.
I
have never.
I think it's great when you guys argue about things.
I have never tried to talk anybody out of their religious belief. The only time that I've ever tried to talk to someone about their religious beliefs is when they start it. And I usually politely be like, hey man, not everybody believes what you believe. And then they will continue on, and then I'll just be like, okay, well then explain, what about cancer in babies? Like,
yeah,
what's the point of that?
Most of the time that I've gotten to an argument with a religious person, it just ends up with me knowing the Bible more than they do.
Yep, that's actually a hallmark of being an atheist.
Yeah. I read the Bible because it's a book.
Yeah.
Well, but that's good. I mean, you went ahead and you did the. I was just listening to you guys talk. And I'm a little bit drunk right now. I'm not gonna lie. But I just had that image of that motherfucker when he looked through that. When he looked through that fucking hole in the door.
Oh, from the movie.
And he had his fucking mouth sewed shut. Oh my god. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm fucked.
So have you were texting Jamie during the movie?
Yeah.
Like, did you
Thank you, my beloved wife.
Have you
if
texted?
you ever listen to this, you are a saint.
Have
and
you
know this already?
Have you been texting her since the movie ended?
No, I left my phone.
Oh, damn. I was going to ask. Now that did you tell her that you finished the movie and how you feel about it? And I'm hoping there's going to be some comfort waiting for you.
I mean, I say she's a saint just because she continued to talk to me. But I know the vibe that she had was quit being a bitch and watch the movie.
That is fair because we've all met Jamie.
Because she was just like, it's not that bad. You're fucking fine. And I was so what's Gordon doing? I was just texting her like random shit, and she's like, pay attention, watch the fucking movie.
Well, okay. So this is what's so. Again, this is my mental health background. People who have anxiety. Let me rephrase that. People who don't have anxiety tell a person who has anxiety to calm down. They don't know. They can't know. Like it's you unless you have it, you don't understand it. It's the same thing with phobias, man. Like you can climb a ladder and not be freaked out. I, on the other hand, get 3 steps onto a ladder, look at the top, and then look down and be like,
That's it.
I'm gonna fall.
Well, and people with anxiety. I mean, I think most of anxiety, in which I just found. I literally just found this out. I made that movie 10 million times worse
100%.
in my mind.
Yeah. I told you before we started the movie.
Than it actually was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the build up to actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I would have done anything to get out of it.
It's akin to.
I really would have. I would have. Evan, if you would have got your nipple out and said, lick my nipple and I'll not let you watch that movie, I'd have fucking just
went to town on that bad boy.
Oh my God, until
he'd have nipple hair coming out of his
started
mouth.
Lactating all in my mouth.
I had a point and then I just lost it.
Because now that's in your head.
Because you are turned on now.
It's akin to skydiving. Like you're like you buy the ticket and you're ready to go and you get the pack and you're like, yeah. And then they open that fucking door and you're like, fuck.
And then you fall.
And then you're
you're like, well.
And then you make it to the ground and you're like, oh shit, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
It wasn't near as bad. And that, I think.
It's the build up to the dive out of the plane.
And I think a lot of anxiety is that. A lot of people that struggle with anxiety, like myself, I do. And I like to call it more nervous.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just nervous. I mean, nervous
I've
is a
gone
normal
to the
emotion.
hospital because of my anxiety.
Yeah.
Yep.
But a lot of people, they get confused on anxiety. I mean, I struggle with anxiety. I have fucking panic shit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't even know why I'm having it. That's anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, but this was just, I was just nervous for it. I was just so fucking nervous that it caused anxiety. And then I just got so consumed by that. But then once I watched the fucking movie, it wasn't that bad of a movie. So I made that shit 10 times worse.
I told you
in
that.
my fucking.
Before we watched the movie.
There would God himself could have come down here and he'd have been like, "I've watched this movie. It's not so bad." And I'd be like, "Fuck you, dude. Fuck you all day."
But I told you that before we watched the movie. I said movie in your head is way worse than the movie we're actually going to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And that's what happens.
That's anxiety.
That is anxiety.
A regular person without anxiety looks at a problem and says, "This isn't so bad." A person with anxiety looks at a problem and goes, "Fuck, this is the end of the world. I'm done. I should just fucking off myself."
This is this is never going to be solved.
Yeah, so I might as well just give up.
Hope.
Yeah.
There's. I just got another fucking visual of that movie.
Oh, Jesus.
The worst part of it for me.
So
Okay.
do we want to just?
Nah, the worst part of it.
Let him
for
work it out
me,
first.
That fucking fly came out of her nose.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Did you see when
Good.
it, did you
That
see when
gave
it
me
landed on her eye?
Did you see when it landed on the eyeball?
That's when. That's when I almost gave up.
When the fly?
Yeah, because it gave me Ring vibes.
Yeah.
God, that was
Because remember when in the Ring, and I was like 12 years old when I watched this. I think that's where my PTSD comes
when
from.
she picks the fly
When
out
she
of
picks the fly out of the TV,
Yeah.
and there's another part with a fly in it.
Well, there's also the
in the
part where
ring.
she's choking on the hair.
Yeah.
And she's pulling the hair out of her mouth.
Oh, dude, fuck that movie. Fuck that movie. If you like that movie, KendallHatesHorror.com.
No.
Whatever.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. I might, you might hate me for this, but fuck the Ring. But anyway, the part where the fly comes out her nose brought up a whole lot of shit for me. And I was about to tell these guys, maybe we could just pretend that I watched the movie. And
we do not do that around here. We don't pretend.
Yeah.
No, I really watched that motherfucker.
You really did. I was afraid when we decided we were doing this one next. I was like, "This is going to be the one that gets him." This is because we've been lobbing softballs at you, but this is one. This is a fastball right over home plate.
Yeah.
It fucking sucked. I mean, no, it sucked. The build up to it, because he told me that 2 days ago, and I was like, "Oh, thanks."
Well, we have to keep...
My asshole is chewing fucking holes in this couch seat right now.
Is that why you were walking around so you didn't put a hole in our couch? I heard a lot of clenching. There was some
my
clenching.
asshole does not have teeth.
I mean, but we told you about it because we like to have you be prepared for what we're going to watch.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I don't want to just throw you in the deep end. I want to tell you it's 9 feet deep
But
before
also-
I throw you in the deep
But
end.
also, you're doing your own little research
Yeah.
about it too.
I'm not gonna lie to you. So my favorite activity. I'm sure I've said this. I was fishing. Thursday.
I was gonna say that as a joke. Fishing.
No. My favorite activity is fishing all day. And I started. I literally was on my phone the whole time, just looking up how scary is the autopsy of Jane Doe, blah, blah, blah. And it completely, I'm like, dude, this shit has got me so fucked up. I can't even fish right now.
I feel bad. Yeah.
No, it's fine. I in a way, I kind of like this. I mean, this is such a different experience for me that it's so out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of guy that I agreed to do this because I like to get out of my comfort zone.
That's good.
I do. I like to. And I hate carnival rides.
I'm not going to make it
all of my children love carnival rides.
Mm-hmm.
So I take them to the carnival and I ride all them motherfucking rides just to get me out of my comfort zone.
Good.
Fuck Ferris wheels of all variety.
Oh, all day.
Um,
The Branson Ferris wheel. Fuck that sumbitch.
the woman I refer to as the Destroyer of Worlds took me to a carnival on our first date. Well, technically second, but whatever. And took me on a Ferris wheel. And it was one of those ones where you're in the cage and it spins as the thing is
Like
spins.
the egg ride
Oh my
thing.
god, yeah, the egg tumbler
The
thing.
one that beats the shit out of you while you're riding it.
Bro,
Yeah,
I have a permanent bruise from one of those.
I am surprised that later
I'll
on
show you later.
I'm surprised that later on she still fucked me. I was screaming like a girl. So bad.
Me or my wife and I. Jamie is my wife. Her name is Jamie. Her and I are dynamic. She is literally the rock, and I am the one that's always freaked out by shit. So she's usually the one going, "Hey, let's do this." And
So
I
you're
can,
the
I can
introvert.
Totally relate.
So you're the introvert and she's the extrovert.
No.
Oh.
No. Well, okay, yes. When it comes to people, I'm the extrovert.
Okay.
When it comes to anything else,
The new activities.
yes, she's the extrovert. But I mean,
So she likes to live life and you like to just wave as it pass by.
well, she would. I don't think she would ride rides anymore. I don't know. I really don't know. Would you, babe? Babe, are you listening?
Yeah,
Would you do
Jamie, if you would like to ride, if you'd like to go ride some rides, email us at khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
That's how we're gonna test to see if she actually listens.
Got her.
Yeah, if you actually heard this, I'll ride a roller coaster with you.
Oh shit.
We'll see.
Okay. Okay.
So if she actually listens and
She emails
she hears
us.
this,
Yeah.
I will ride a roller coaster.
Frontier
with
City,
her.
bitch. Frontier City.
I don't give a fuck which one it is.
I don't give a
Except that bitch at fucking in Las Vegas that's on top of a fucking building.
no.
I ain't doing that one. I
Nope.
saw that bitch and I was like, no way.
No.
And that was back in my crazy days, and I still wouldn't ride that bitch.
Mm-mm.
No way.
I wouldn't ride a roller coaster anyways. Ever.
No,
I've ridden some.
I've done it.
I've ridden some.
It's not that bad.
My friend Randy, we went to Six Flags, one of the Six Flags in Texas. I don't remember what it was, and it was the fucking roller coaster that it pulls you back first. I think it's called the I don't know, like the
Boomerang?
flashback or the boomerang or something like
Yeah.
that. Pulls you back like this.
At Frontier City or Worlds of Fun.
No. It's similar to that one, but it pulls you back and then you drop and then you go down and it goes into a loop and then it goes up and it catches you and then pulls you and you do the fucking same thing backwards.
Yeah.
My friend Randy got me on that ride, and he made sure to sit on the outside, so that way when I freaked out and I was like, nope, I can't do it, Randy wouldn't move. So, Randy, I love you, but you were a piece of shit for that. And I know Randy listens. Okay, let's get into the movie.
Oh, do we want to talk about the movie now?
Yep.
Okay.
Who fucking cares? We're having fun, bro.
But if we're doing a movie podcast, we should probably talk about the movie a little bit.
Yep.
So we kind of open up on. I really like the opening shot. How it's like dirt almost, but it's like almost like film negative type of dirt or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
but it's like they're brushing it aside.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get this push in through the trees.
It's
but
peat moss.
It's peat actually.
peat moss.
Yeah, it's peat.
And
That's what's under her fingernails.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it has this like shot that's pushing in through the trees, and then it goes right side up, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't know what relevancy it had, but
The movie is shot really well.
oh, it's shot fantastically.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fucking brilliantly shot.
I have to say things like that so people believe I actually watched the movie. I really did. I really watched it.
Anyway, we go into this house and we kind of just see all these mutilated not mutilated, but dead bodies. Yeah, dead
There's
bodies.
blood all over the place.
There's blood all over the place.
Yeah, fuck. that scene, dude. I was like,
As they're just walking through this murder scene.
I was
Yeah.
already just flipping the fuck out. And
Yeah.
Here we go. We got fucking dead people laying around. And, like immediately from that scene you're talking about, it immediately goes to just some dude and a camera shutter real quick
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was almost a jump scare for me.
When they snapped the picture.
That was like, I was like, oh, dude, oh my God.
Yeah.
We're already starting. I was like, dude, this is fucking. And then straight from that, like, semi jump scare, for me, we're seeing dead motherfuckers.
Yeah, there's like 9 jump scares in this movie, I believe. I think
something like that.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because like I said, I watched this on last drive-in. So of course, Joe Bob does his drive-in totals, and he always has little.
In my fun facts, in my research, there are 9 jump scares.
9 jump scares.
I don't know if they included that one. That might be just a pussy jump scare for me. But I totally freaked out on that, and then I'm already just a ball of anxiety, and then we got dead bodies and shit, and I'm like, I'm giving up. I'm gonna hit the fucking panic button real quick here.
We got so we were kind of following around like the forensic team and the sheriff, which is Sheriff Burke, Sheldon Burke.
Yep.
And we go downstairs to the basement, and for some reason their basement had no cement; it was just dirt. And then we kind of the camera.
That makes it. I believe that technically makes it a root cellar and not a basement.
I think we discussed this on the Blair Witch episode that was like more like a root cellar or a storm shelter.
Yeah.
And then we see a woman buried, like half buried.
Well, I think they had started uncovering her or something.
And then I guess his lieutenant,
whatever,
was saying she was like, there's no signs of forced entry. It seemed like they were trying to get out.
Yeah.
And and then we cut to the Tilden mortuary, where we meet Tommy, played by Brian Cox, and Austin, played by Emil Hirsch, and they are doing an autopsy on a burn victim, and they're kind of just going. He's asking him, he's like, oh hey, what's the cause of death and stuff like that, and they kind of just go back and forth, and he's trying to train him to be him.
Austin's a certified medical assistant, whereas Tommy is a actual
medical examiner.
And as we know that the woman that played Jane Doe was actually alive, I was like, oh, is this dude alive? Is this a live dude? He's just a burn victim?
No, he dead as fuck.
He dead. No, he dead as fuck.
It's probably a dummy.
Yeah, actually, it's probably some of the worst.
It's like the worst effect in the movie.
He looks fake.
He looks fake. He
totally
looks rubbery.
Fake.
But he's supposed to be a burn victim, so
whatever.
It's not that big of a deal.
Still scared the fuck out of me.
I mean, because he's basically trying to train him up, and then Austin gets a call from his girlfriend. She's meeting him, so they're going to go to a movie.
Yeah,
together. Emma. As he goes to meet Emma upstairs, that's when Burke shows up with the body. Mm-hmm. He takes Jane Doe as we.
Well, we missed the part where Emma really wanted to see one of the bodies.
Oh yeah.
Which is important for the movie.
Yeah, she goes over to the drawers and she's like, "Oh, are these where you keep the bodies?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "Can I see one?" And Austin's like, "Nah."
Once you see that, you can't
unsee it. And plus, my dad's really strict. And then Brian Cox pops up and he's like, "Try me."
Yeah.
And
Shane pointed this out where Shane watched the movie with us because he'd never seen it before. Shane pointed this out like this whole time. Tommy is indulging, but he's also being a little bit of a smarmy asshole.
Yeah, he's being a real scamp.
He's being a real schemer.
Yeah. And so she's picking out. At first we open up one of the cabinets. And it's an older woman.
It's an older woman.
I think on the tag it said that she died from like mesothelioma or something like that. And like when they pull her out, she has her mouth sewn shut and her eyes sewn shut.
Which is a coroner. It's a coroner thing that when they do the full like the Y incision and everything, they will sew the eyelids and the mouth shut so that they will stay closed.
Yeah, because then they get shipped to the funeral home.
Or more than likely she'll be cremated.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
And then she basically Emma's like, no, that one. She points to the one next to it.
And Austin's like, well, you saw one. I mean, it's.
And she's like, I want to see that one. He's like, my choice, right? And then so he opens it up, and it's a man that's covered pretty much all the way down except for his feet. And then he's got a white sheet over his face.
That's covered in blood.
And
he's reliving it right now.
Yeah, and she basically says is like, oh, why is his face covered? And Tommy is like, well, there wasn't much of a face to cover. A shotgun blast will do that.
Yeah.
And then come to find out that he was actually poisoned and that he didn't actually commit suicide, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he has a bell on his toe.
Yeah.
And she asks, why do you put a bell on there? And he says, well, back in the olden days, it was hard to tell a dead person from a comatose person.
Yeah.
So if you heard the bell ringing, you knew the person wasn't quite ready to go yet. And then she's like, well, why do you do it? And he's like, well, I'm a bit of a traditionalist.
Yeah.
And fuck him.
And then she wants to see the face, and of course Austin's like, "No, you don't. You really don't want to see that." And she goes to lift up the face, and we get our other jump scare, which is Tommy hitting the bell.
Hitting the bell, just to fuck with her. Because prior to this, Emma scared the shit out of Austin, and I made the joke, and I was like, "Ha, Austin got you back, bitch."
And then they're going to they're heading up to the movies. Yeah, then
Sheldon comes down.
Sheldon Burke shows up with the body. And he brings it into the to the office, and Tommy's like, "Oh no, like he's like, you don't need to stay. You can go have fun." And Austin starts saying to Emma, "This is like, oh man, Burke looks really freaked out," and he's like, "Oh, maybe I should stay and help him out." He's like, "Oh, so you're ditching me again?" And so we're come to realize that he does this a lot, where he's trying to help his dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, he really needs me. And then basically she's like, well, what's he going to do whenever you leave? And she's like, oh, you haven't fucking told him yet, have you? And he's like, I'm going to.
Austin's ready to leave the nest, but he's feeling like, at this point we don't know, but he's feeling he needs to stay with his dad because his dad doesn't have much left.
Yeah.
We find out later that, I think they alluded to and we're jumping ahead, I think they alluded to in the elevator that
his mother
committed suicide. And that was within the last few years.
Yeah.
So Austin's sticking around because his dad doesn't really have any other family left.
Yeah, he doesn't have anybody except the fucking cat, Stanley, which we meet right after this.
Yeah.
Because basically Burke tells him, he's like, he tells him the whole story. He's like, because I can't remember what the name of the family was, but he's like, yeah, it was a massacre, and I found her. He's like, I can explain everything else.
Yeah.
I can say it's a B&E gone wrong or whatever. He's like, the one thing I can't explain is her.
Yeah, one thing I can't sell is her.
Because he's like, so I'm going to need the COD, which is the cause of death.
By morning.
So I need you to do it tonight. And so Austin comes back to help his dad, and we start with the autopsy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see Stanley for the first time. He growls at maybe
the
Burke,
cop,
maybe the body.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure Stanley had just seen Game of Thrones, and he wasn't happy with the way Bruce Bolton did what he did with Rob.
Yeah, and basically, like, Tommy's just like, that cat's been getting meaner and meaner every year.
Yeah.
So we come to believe
I like to think that he was growling at the cop.
Yeah.
Like he's like, fuck the police.
Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Yeah, he's just like, a cab, bitch.
He was another member of Bone Thugs.
Yeah.
And then we start the autopsy, and
so they start with the external examination, and they find stuff underneath your fingernails and in her
they
hair.
find Pete underneath her fingernails. And Austin's like, is like, well, where would she get that? He's like, well, not around here, because he's like, it's only up north.
Yeah.
He's like, other than that, you'd have to ship it in, buy it from a
nursery.
Mm-hmm. And so they're investigating that. Austin notices, he's like, man, her waist seems like really small for her frame. Because when you look at her, her waist is like, it doesn't make
the girl that they got to play
good.
is very, she's very lithe.
Yeah,
she's the ballerina.
Yeah, exactly. And then they open up her eyes, and they see that she has like very gray, like glassed over eyes that
they're very clouded.
Which would only happen with a body that's been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And do they open up her mouth next?
Because
they're kind of they find the fractures.
Yes, so they open up her mouth, and that's when they realize that her tongue has been cut out.
Yeah, and before that they had kind of noticed that her wrists and her ankles had been fractured. And
which Austin comes back and says, this is more the fracture. They've been shattered.
He's like, and there's no indication that there's that there's been any trauma to the limbs.
Yeah.
And he fucking moves her bone around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
Dude.
Because when I first watched it, I was like, is there?
squirming.
I was
squirming doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, is there something in her skin? And I was like, oh, that's a bone. That's
Yeah,
a bone.
yeah.
It's a fucking ankle bone.
He pushed
man.
it and it slid over to the side.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was so gross.
yeah.
But yeah, and then they no, before that I forgot her nose starts bleeding.
No, that was after they.
Is that after they
yeah.
found the yeah?
The tongue.
Yes,
That was after
they open up her mouth. They find out that her tongue's been cut.
Because that's
out.
when he starts taking picture of her face.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
Yeah.
He they notice that her tongue's been cut out, and at first Austin's like, well, maybe she bit it off because maybe she OD'd or something like that, and he's like, no, he's like, it's not a good cut.
There's striations.
Yeah, there's striations. Then
This is striations means a sawing motion.
yeah. So it's not a clean cut. It's
Right.
not. It's not like a hot, like in Game of Thrones where they, when Ilan Payne cuts out a person's tongue, gets it real hot, and it goes right through, like a knife through hot butter.
Yeah. This is
Gross.
indicative of striations. Is basically like a saw or like a steak knife kind of going through it. Like it's a sawing motion.
It's a serrated knife.
Serrated knife.
Yeah.
Serrations is.
And then he starts taking pictures of her, and that's when her nose starts bleeding.
Yeah.
And then a fucking fly pops out of that nose.
Kendall, what do you think about that fly flying over?
At first, I didn't know what to think. I was just like, "Oh, her nose is bleeding. She's still alive. Like, chill. Quit cutting on her."
The autopsy's over.
And-
So the
yeah,
movie's
like-
over.
Movie's over.
Like, yeah, like this is it. And then you see like little legs sticking out the nose.
Yeah, it's so well done.
It is really well done.
It's so
And
good.
Fucking, and I would know. How did they do that effect?
I would assume they built a because it's very, very close up on the nose. They built a prosthetic nose, and I would assume that they might have done intercut shots.
It's probably forced perspective.
Yeah, it could have been that too.
Dude,
It's
Very-
Lord of the Rings shit.
Yeah.
very effective.
Yeah, it was
like
good.
I was just
So, like-
worming around. Like,
So it's jumping ahead just a little bit, but they start thinking that maybe she might be a victim of like some sort of sex trafficking or something because her ankles were broken and her wrists were broken so that she couldn't run. Her tongue was cut out so that she couldn't tell anybody anything. So they go to do a vaginal exam. And they do a forced perspective thing so that Brian Cox isn't like sticking anything up in her, business. And they find out that she has damage to the inside. Like
Yeah.
she's got. So Austin starts thinking, well, this all tracks. Like everything that were said.
Oh,
so
and we
far.
also forgot to mention that one of her molars is missing.
And one of her, when they do the mouth examination, it looks like one of her molars had been taken out. And then so Tommy tells him, "Hey, we just started. Let's not jump
Like
to
we
that.
haven't
conclusion."
even done the internal.
Yeah, we haven't done the
yet,
internal. Yeah, so
and hey, guess what? That's what we're doing next.
Yeah.
And then they start the internal examination, and Tommy cuts her open, and then she just fucking starts bleeding like crazy.
Yeah.
Like just blood pouring out of her body.
yeah, and that's when I'm like, oh no, she's still alive. She's
Yeah, 'cause
fucking bleeding.
Tommy says that he was like, you usually.
Well, he called it. He's like, "Oh, they're not supposed to do that."
Yeah.
And then from his mouth to the TV, have you ever seen anything like that? No, not really.
They're not supposed to do that.
They're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, because he was like, if they're like a couple of hours old, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some pressure build up, but
Yeah, but not
and
a
she's
corpse
cold.
that's old.
She's cold. She's colder than the ambient temperature of the room.
Yeah.
because they found her in the ground. Like,
Yeah.
so that would have
Yeah,
sapped
she
a
was
lot of-
buried.
She was buried
Under
but
the
they
house.
But they also make a note that even though she's that cold, she's still flexible. She still has. She has no.
Yeah,
no
rigor mortis.
does not
Rigor
set
mortis
in.
has not set in.
No rigidity is what they say. So.
Yeah, and then they start investigating her organs.
Well, they cut. So when they cut her open and she starts bleeding, Austin collects some of it. This was a really cool shot.
Oh yeah,
So he collects some of it and goes and puts it in the fridge, and I don't remember what brought his attention back to the fridge at that particular moment.
oh, he saw the blood on the floor.
What
He was because he was supposed to go get the rib cutters.
Well, he asked for the rib cutters when he went over to the fridge, and that's when Tommy saw the pool of blood and he opened it up, and then Austin saw it. He opened up the fridge, And Tommy was like getting impatient. Was like today, and that's when he sees the pool of blood and everything. And he's like, "What'd you do?" And he immediately blames Austin. He's like, "I got it."
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I think this might be a little bit open for interpretation. But since that was what was causing the pool of blood was the blood that Austin had collected from her.
Oh yeah, that's what.
Because it was bleeding out of the tube, but they don't really explain it. So he just cleans it up. Tommy grabs the rib cutters and pops open her sternum and everything. Which you weren't. You heard the. Of
Good
the
Lord.
producer Eric Garcia and the writers, when they went to the L.A. coroner's office, they saw that because they were showing them all the tools that they used because they wanted to make sure that it was as accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Why do you have bolt cutters here?" And he was like, "Oh, that's what we use to cut the ribs open."
Yep.
And he's like, "Really? That's just that?" He's like,
Yep.
"Yeah, no. Most of the stuff we just get from places.
Yeah.
We use ladles to take out blood from bodies."
Yeah. Yeah, so the rib cutters were just big ass bolt cutters, which I'm sure you have in your garage.
Yeah, they were just bolt cutters. Like, and
You should refer to them as rib cutters from now on.
Yeah.
I will.
And that's what most coroners use. They just use everyday things that they can just get for
Tools.
cheap because they have to buy all their shit. They'll get like a scalpels and shit like that, but for the most part they just this will work. I mean, they're dead. You don't have there's no you don't have to be careful with it. You know, the body's already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a lot of DeWalt tools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they can
they do.
interchange the batteries.
Yeah.
They do, yeah.
Once you pick a brand, you buy a lot of those kind of tools so you can interchange the batteries.
Yeah, and then they started investigating the organs. They find that her lungs are black, and Austin is like, "Oh, I didn't take her for a smoker," and he's like, "You have to smoke 10 packs a day for 30 years, and her lungs wouldn't be this bad."
Yeah.
So basically,
she had been
And
burned.
then they pull the heart and
it's got cuts.
It's
all
got
over
cuts all over it, but they're like healed cuts, so it's like scar tissue.
And then that's all. It's all.
And
all
Austin
over
points out that
organs.
it's all over her organ. It's on all of her organs, including the lungs, stomach.
Yeah, and they started investigating the stomach, and they find what looks like a flower inside of her stomach. Tommy runs over to one of his books because coroners, they just got a bunch of shits because they have to be like, okay, what's this, what's this, what's this, and he opens up this kind of a botany book, and he finds what's called a Jimson weed, and it's like a paralyzing agent. He says that it's mainly only grown up north, but that's kind of a goof. It's mainly in the southeastern.
So yeah, it's Jimson weed is apparently not native to the north, like the northeast, which is what most of the clues that they're finding are pointing her in the direction of. It's actually specifically the Jimson weed is something that they use to point in the northeast, but. Apparently, it's kind of a goof 'em up. Gypsum weed is actually found in the southern United States.
I think they were trying to connect things, and they were like, "Oh, this works," and then we'll just make it seem like that. Whatever.
Yeah. For the movie in the book that he reads, it's from the northeast.
Yeah. And then they start investigating the stomach more, and they find like a piece of cloth that's like almost wrapped up like a dime bag.
Yeah, Kittle's like, "Oh, she had a dime bag in her stomach."
And they unwrap it. Oh yeah, and before that, we forgot about the thread that they pulled out of her mouth.
Yeah.
But they pull out this cloth, they unwrap it, and they find a tooth.
Yeah.
Because Kendall was like,
he picked up on that real quick. I was like, "Oh my god, that's her fucking tooth!"
And
because he said earlier, he's like, "Oh, she's missing a molar from the left side."
Yeah.
And then they unwrap that shit and they pull that shit up. I'm like, oh my god, it's a fucking tooth. That's her tooth. And they wrapped it up in a cloth.
Yeah, and then they unwrap it and they find like this cloth and it's got like Roman numerals on it.
Roman numerals
like,
and they point out that some of the letters they don't look right because they're backwards.
Yeah, there's just like symbols. There's like a big symbol in the
right
middle.
in the middle.
And yeah, there's like a T up here, an S down here. And then Austin writes down Roman numerals XXVII.
Yeah.
And
Should also point out that in between all of this, they've been getting some reports over the radio about some weather coming in, and also interchanged with that really creepy song.
Yeah, because the radio starts like going like all staticky, and there's like weird shit. There's like women screaming. There's all kinds of crazy shit, and then it drops on that.
Let the sun shine.
But even before any of this, they kept, or the younger dude, he kept saying like, let's just go and we'll do this in the morning.
Yeah,
let's just get out
Tommy
of here.
was like, he's like, you heard Burke. We need
to do it tonight.
Once you finish something, or once you start something, we finish it.
Yeah, and there was so many times where they were like,
and Tommy even says to Austin, he's like, if you want to go, go.
Yeah, he tells him, he's like, look, if you don't, I didn't ask you to stay. I told you didn't have to stay. And because it's kind of a look into their actual, like, even this night is a look into their actual life.
Their dynamic.
Exactly. Where Austin feels like he has to stay, but Tommy's like, you don't have to stay. I'm not making you stay here. It's I actually just thought about that just now. I was like, oh yeah, that dynamic is like it's like their actual dynamic, but it's also within this film. It's neat.
Yeah.
God, it's a good fucking script, man. It's so good.
It actually was a good script. As much as it.
So yeah, the weather starts getting bad, and some weird things start happening, and this is when Austin's like, Dad, I think we should go.
Yeah, and then he notices her skin, so he starts cutting it open.
Ugh.
And she cut. Because he trims it like a brisket.
Like a brisket.
And then he opens up like almost like it would be like the first layer of her skin or something like that.
Epidermis.
And then there's those symbols
are
on her fucking skin
on the
inside
of her skin. It's like, how did
like
that
she's
get
been like someone took her skin off, tattooed it, and then put it back on her.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the lights just go boom and fucking explode everywhere. And then Tommy's like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Of all the smart things that he said in that movie, that might have been the smartest.
Well, he said something before that, like, oh, that looks like melanoma.
Yeah,
like a skin.
That was when they first. Yeah,
when they first did the Y incision.
And he was like, no, that has to be on the outside of the skin. This is on the inside of the skin.
Yeah, because he's like, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then this is when.
So it was a rare form of fucking sunburn.
Oh yeah, and then also when the lights are flickering, we notice that all the cabinets where the bodies are, they're all fucking empty now.
Yeah.
All the doors are open.
Yeah.
All the little things are slid out.
They've been teasing up until that point by having one of the drawers open slowly, like they.
So we went way past the part where that door opens real slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta add this in here.
Yeah, that's fine.
So my wife was nice enough. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to work, but I really need you to watch this movie and tell me what you think. She's a saint. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it while you go back to work. So she. So she turns it on, and she's
spit take all over the microphone.
So she's watching this movie, and the part where you'll see it, where the door opens.
Yeah, it's the door to one of the
cabinets.
With the bodies in it.
Yeah.
Our front door opened at the exact same time, and she was like, "Nope. Fuck this movie, I'm turning it off."
Yeah, that's where I shit my pants.
Like I've said, my wife is a rock. Nothing freaks her out.
Yeah.
And that almost made her turn this movie off. And she told me, she was like, that was a scary part of this movie for me. And I was like, of course. Good Lord. If that happened to me, you would have saw my skull right there.
If that had happened to me, I would have shit my pants.
Yeah. Yeah, just crazy.
Like that would have been like, I don't get freaked out by movies. That's one of the reasons why I watch horror movies, because I'm looking for something to freak me out, but I don't get freaked out by horror movies.
I don't have to go looking. I don't have.
But if that would have happened, I would have been like, found it.
Yeah,
and I would have turned it off too.
The front door swung open at the exact same time that fucking door swung open. Jeez.
I'd have been like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this when the light's on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish this later.
I'm gonna wait till somebody gets home.
Yeah.
Because she was watching it by herself. Too.
Yeah.
And Stephen King said not to do that. Stephen King said it. Don't fucking watch it alone.
I watched it alone the first time.
I watched it. I had drags, but I watched it alone.
I would not.
So they try to go to the elevator that will take them up to the house. It doesn't work.
Because of course it doesn't work.
Yeah,
right
of course it doesn't work. And then
they try to open up the.
There's a hatch that they can get. There's almost like a
cellar door.
A cellar door. They can take stairs up to, and they try to open it, but a tree has fallen because
from the storm
that on top of the door, and they can't get it open. And then shit starts happening.
This is when the shit starts happening.
They start seeing fucking
Shit
people
hits
in
the
the.
fan.
The first thing they notice is.
Yeah, they hear. Yeah. Because Austin tries to get his cell phone to work. It doesn't work because obviously it doesn't. But
because why would it in a horror movie?
Tommy's like, okay, well, there's a landline in my office. Let's go use that. And he's trying to call the sheriff's office. They can't hear him because his line's breaking up. And then we start hearing the ding, the bell ringing.
Austin lays down on the floor.
Yeah, because they've shut the door, locked it.
Smart.
Yeah.
I kept thinking of the AC/DC song "Hell's Bells."
That's a prudent game action.
Hell's Bells.
And then Austin peeks his little eye underneath the door. And then what happened, Kendall?
Fuck that.
What happened? What did you see? What did you see underneath that door?
There was a foot.
No. Say it the way you did it when we were watching the movie.
I don't remember what I said.
I know exactly what you said.
I was too scared.
Oh my God, it's a fucking foot.
I was too scared.
I'm like, what is so scary about a foot?
Because they're the only live people down there. Why is there someone else walking around?
Kendall looked at me. He goes, "Great, you motherfucker. You said this wasn't a zombie movie." And I was like, it's not. It's not a zombie movie.
The fuck it ain't by definition. That's zombie
They were
shit.
not zombies. They
That's
were angry
zombie
spirits.
shit.
Yeah, and
They
then
were angry
Spirits.
we'd have to go back to another scene that we kind of forgot about. But Tommy, when he was looking at the body, he accidentally nicked himself on one of her ribs.
Yeah.
And
he got sepsis.
And now it's bleeding like a lot more than it
yeah.
was.
Yeah, he's got sepsis.
So he goes into the bathroom to.
I don't think you know what sepsis is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an infection through your whole body. That obviously that would give you sepsis.
It would take time.
Yeah, sepsis takes a long time.
You're fucked. You got sepsis now.
I know sepsis because I watched ER. That happened a lot on that show.
And House.
It does take time. I'm sorry.
No.
That was my first thought.
This is a gag for this movie.
We also know that I'm an idiot.
It could also be lupus.
Yeah. Refer to the Halloween episode for why you're an idiot.
That's after this one.
Yeah. But, go to the future.
Go to the future.
We know what happens in the future.
Yeah.
You don't. We're time travelers.
Kendall's going to say something.
You're going to really fucking know what we're talking about.
It's going to be the best thing ever.
Kendall's going to say something incredibly stupid but hilarious during the Halloween episode next week. So
it's awesome.
Pay attention to it.
And then he's washing his wound. And then he kind of notices. I guess is there like a shower?
It's a shower, yeah.
And there, and so the shower curtain starts moving, and he's like, "Come on, dude."
Yeah, really.
And he goes to open it, nothing there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets fucking attacked by the burn fucking dude.
Yeah, the bird dude.
And he fucking fucks him up. I mean, like his.
Like I think he breaks a rib or something along those lines.
It's so weird later on is because it's like a symbol.
It's like the same. It's the symbol that's on the inside of her.
Yeah.
The burn dude also slams his head into the mirror, so it shatters the mirror.
Yeah. They go back to the autopsy room, and
they're like, "Let's get this bitch in the fucking furnace.
Let's fucking light this bitch up." And the fucking door locks itself.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Austin, that was scary as fuck.
Austin grabs a axe,
fire axe,
and starts chopping at the door. An ode to the Shining.
The director specifically put this in the to pay homage to the Shining.
And and then of course they have to look through the hole.
Because why not? Why not?
And this thing feels like it lasts forever. Because there's like no music. It's just like, okay, when's it gonna happen? We know that something's gonna happen. It would have been neat if they subverted it and it was behind them. Like it wasn't there. It was like, hey, bitch, and then they tapped him on the shoulder. That would have been fucking hilarious. But But then it's the woman that had her eyes and mouth sewn shut.
Yeah, which freaked Kendall out. Because she goes to scream and like some of the stitches rip out of her mouth, and Kendall's like, "Oh my god!"
It made me think of Neo in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask my wife. My wife does some things with the dead. She actually works at a mortuary, and I'm gonna ask her if there's such a thing as people with their mouth and eyes sewn shut.
There is.
Yeah,
There is.
And Jamie, if you feel the need to correct anything that we put in this podcast, please make sure
she
to email us at khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
She ain't gonna email us.
Nah, she ain't gonna email
She ain't gonna
you.
ride no fucking roller coaster. She ain't gonna listen to this.
I heard that once, and I thought it was hilarious.
She gonna email you.
She ain't gonna email us.
Yeah, and so they go to light this bitch up because they were taking her to the incinerator, and then Tommy's just like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, he literally says, "Fuck this."
And he just starts fucking pouring. I don't know what they were pouring on her.
It was acetone.
Was it acetone?
Is what it said on the thing.
And then they light her up. Of course, it lights up the entire fucking.
The whole room catches on fire. I'm like, oh, yep, now you're fucked.
I thought it showed great father-son solidarity.
Yes.
Because he goes to pour the thing on, and you would think that Tommy would have been like, "No, we can't do that." But Tommy was like, Tommy grabs the fucking matches, like, let's
fucking light this bitch up.
Yeah.
It goes on the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's burning up the fucking video camera that they were filming.
And all the
autopsy.
pictures that he'd taken.
Yeah, all the pictures, all the evidence of the fucking autopsy is
Yeah.
done. They put it out with fire extinguishers. Oh, look at that, Jane. Not a fucking scratch on her.
Not a burn
Not a burn on
At this point, I realized. Now, you guys probably already knew, but at this point, I realized that they knew that she was the reason all this crazy shit's
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
they figured that. That was why they decided to burn her up.
Yeah, because they were like, fuck this, we're done.
They're like, yeah, it's her for sure.
Mhm.
It's her for sure.
Yeah, and then and then the lights. What the lights turn back on, or they're going to the elevator.
They go to the elevator.
To just we're just fucking leaving. Fuck
Yeah.
this. The elevator is actually working. The doors.
Well, because they I think they heard it open.
Yeah, they heard it open, and then the doors open, but they're kind of struggling to open them, and then we see one of the bodies coming forth. Before that, we see the blood-soaked
The blood-soaked rag. Yeah.
that's on the floor, so we know it's
That was from the shotgun. You affectionately referred to them as shotgun face.
yeah.
Shotgun face.
So we see the shotgun face, and it's really awesome shots. It's just lights flickering. So you just see him every so often. You see shotgun face until you get the full fucking view.
Yeah.
And they're trying to close the
And
elevator
he's just
doors.
slowly coming.
He's just
towards
slowly
them.
coming, and then Tommy grabs the axe, and right as shotgun face is coming right towards the elevator doors, he just swings the axe outside of the doors.
Yeah, because it's shotgun face. Of course, you're gonna fucking whack him
yeah.
with an axe.
And then the doors open, and because
It's
we hear some like whimpering, and it's fucking Emma, because she was.
Okay, stop the music. Explain this to me. How the fuck did they see Shotgun Face?
Mhm.
And they whacked Shotgun Face. He whacked him with that axe. But then Emma is laying there with
I
an
will
axe.
refer you to the end of this movie. Hey, remember that storm?
Yeah, the storm didn't even happen.
No. The sheriff was outside the door.
So it was like it's an illusion that she made.
Yeah.
So Shotgun Face the whole time was Emma,
Well,
not
not
Shotgun Face.
In theory, none of the bodies ever animated. In
They
theory.
were. That's right, because they were sliding them in and out.
Yeah, and in
They
theory,
never even. They never.
In theory,
So
all
the
of it was in your
foot, the foot under the door was
So-
not a fucking foot. It wasn't a zombie movie. I'm sorry, I misaligned.
That just made me laugh so hard. So the foot.
All that shit was
Wasn't a
just. It was just mirages.
In
and
theory, or she did animate the dead. We don't know.
she animated that shit. She just made it seem like that shit was real.
Yeah, and then so we get so obviously
So he would fucking murder his
on accident, you know,
daughter-in-law, basically.
Yeah, and she so Austin sees that it's Emma. Of course, he fucking
Fuck
loses it.
that
Um,
movie.
Tommy grabs Austin and puts him in the elevator and closes the doors. And then we finally get some talk about what happened to Tommy's wife, Austin's mother. And basically, Tommy says you don't get an outright explanation of what happened. Basically, he's like, I just wish I could have seen it. Like, I wish I could have, I was with her every day.
He called her Ray.
Yeah.
Because she was so happy.
Yeah. He's like, well, you know why I called her Ray? Is because she was my ray of sunshine. And I wish I just would have known that it was the opposite for her. Like, she had to deal with all this stuff. She was so sad.
Alone.
And she dealt with it alone. And that's my fault.
Yeah.
He's like, she's not here because of me. And but it's not that way,
Well, but he has that guilt. He has that survivor's guilt.
Yeah, he has that guilt, and he feels bad for his son because his son doesn't have his mother anymore.
Yeah, right.
God, I love their relationship.
And now he doesn't have his girlfriend anymore.
Dude,
and that was his fault too. He feels like because he fucking threw the axe.
God, their relationship hits me so hard, dude. It's just like fucking
father-son dynamic is very powerful throughout this.
It's so fucking real,
and he wants him to learn the trade, and like, the whole time you're really encompassed by the father-son dynamic.
Yeah. And then they're basically talking about like all of this stuff happened because we cut into her. There's something that she doesn't want us to find.
Yeah,
he's like the reason nobody's figured this out is because of the fact
we're the people that
have gotten the closest to figuring out what this is, and so they decide to go back into the examination room to finish it. And what do we got next?
So while they're deciding this, the crematorium has turned on, and basically smoke is starting to billow into the hallway.
Yeah, and then so they decide that they're gonna do the last part of the examination, which is the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And they take some of her brain.
Tommy gets attacked in the smoke.
Yeah. They're trying to get through the smoke, and Tommy gets attacked again by one of the fucking reanimated dead or whatever the fuck, whatever it is, spirit, whatever. And then they get into the examination room. They decide they're going to do the brain, which is the last thing that they were going to do. Tommy says that when he's talking about what the examination is going to be. And they take some of her brain tissue. They put it underneath the microscope, and Austin's like, what the fuck? And Tommy goes over there and looks at it. She still has brain activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ain't motherfucking dead.
Yeah. He puts it together that that the reason why they can't find a cause of death is because she's not dead.
Yeah. Now everything makes sense.
So then Austin starts looking at the cloth again, and he finally figures out, which I would have figured this out a lot earlier. The reason why the letters were backwards is because you fold it in half and it makes a full sentence, and it comes up to a Bible verse, and he basically says Leviticus 20. Leviticus 20:27.
Yeah.
27.
Well, it's Leviticus 20, chapter 20, chapter 20, verse 27.
Right.
And so Tommy runs over to his shelf because, of course, he has all these other books. He's got to have a Bible.
Well, that would make sense, especially if there has to do something with religion when it comes to like maybe a murder victim or something like that. There would be maybe some instances of that, evidence of that.
Right.
So basically, he reads the Bible verse, and I can't find the exact one that they had in the movie, but basically it says, "A man also or a woman that hath familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, which shall be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them."
And then one of the other numbers that's on this cloth, while he's looking up the Bible verse, Austin figures out 1693, which would have been the time of the witch trials.
Yes. So Austin goes up north, New England, 1693.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, she's a witch." And then Tommy's like, "No, none of them were witches.
They were none, yeah.
And they were all innocent. That was the whole thing." And then basically Austin kind of theorizes that, well, okay, what did they do? He's like, they hung them.
Yeah.
You know, they hung them or they burned them at the stake.
Yeah.
They didn't do what they've done to her. He's like, well, what if what they did to her started a ritual and actually did make her a witch?
Yeah. So that basically what they're implying is that they bound her, they cut out her tongue, they pulled her teeth, made her swallow it, and then basically stabbed her to death and burned her, which created basically the one thing in the world that they were trying to get rid of in Salem.
Yeah, as they actually created a witch,
Yeah.
and she's back for vengeance.
Yeah.
And this time she's pissed.
Yeah. She's back, and
Big
now she's
piss.
pissed. They killed her favorite second cousin.
Big mistake.
Big mistake.
And then basically, Tommy is looking at her. Is this when we get to that? I think this is when he's like,
Well, they call her like he's like, well, I mean, how'd she get here? And he's like, well, or why'd she come here? That was we had nothing to do with that. That was up north. He's like,
she's been passed.
It's just it's not about us. We're just in her path.
Yeah.
So she's basically become like almost like a force of nature. And this is what I was saying. The movie basically treats her body as a cursed object. And if you watch like, you know, other supernatural shows like Buffy, Supernatural, stuff like that, they talk about cursed objects that are so powerful in the world that they actually imbue a curse about the people around them. Her body, because of the way she was tortured to death, made her a cursed object.
Yeah, that's kind of like the Necronomicon is a cursed object.
Like the Necronomicon.
Yeah. And basically, they barricaded the door.
Yeah.
At this point, and then.
But the angry spirits.
Were trying to get in, so Austin is trying to hold the door closed, and Tommy is finally just talking to Jane Doe.
Yeah.
And saying, I just whatever you want. Like I won't fight you. Just don't hurt him.
Yeah. Let me help you.
Yeah. And basically, well, you're gonna help.
She don't want him to help.
Well,
it's a little bit like The Ring. She doesn't want the help. When at the end of The Ring, the idea was to destroy the tape. No, Samara wants people to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way to save yourself is
basically Tommy starts. But the only way I can describe it is he starts getting the stigmata.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, everything that's happened to her is now happening to him.
Yeah.
His wrists break, his ankles break.
He starts getting phantom stab wounds on the inside of him.
Yeah.
There's nothing outside, but you can definitely feel he jerks his body like he's getting stabbed.
I fucking love when he breathes the smoke.
The smoke out.
Fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah.
His eyes start getting cloudy like hers, and he's fallen to the ground, and he's basically, he's like in the worst pain he's ever been in his life, and he motions towards a scalpel that's on the ground, and he tells Austin, please. And so Austin takes the scalpel and
stabs him in the heart.
And ends it. But while this is happening, Jane Doe is starting to heal herself.
Yeah,
her eyes get uncloudy.
The Y incision seals up.
The Y incision seals up. Everything they've done to her has now been healed.
As if the autopsy had never even happened.
Yeah. And then Austin.
Nope.
All the excitement, all the angry spirits disappear. Yeah.
And then we hear Burke shouting from the cellar door, and Austin is running towards, and you can hear him just like, Austin, I'm here.
Open the door. Let me in.
Open the door. And he gets closer to the cellar door, and he's trying, because you hear like chainsaws too, where they're cutting the tree. And he goes to open the door, and he's like, I can't. And you just hear Burke saying, open up. And he just keeps doing it. He's like, open up and let the sun shine. God, that fucking, ooh, it sends chills up my fucking spine.
It's in Burke's voice, but he's singing the song.
It's so fucking good, dude.
It's good imagery.
And then Austin hears something, and he turns around, and then
here's the ringing of the bell.
Yeah, because he's by the banister, and he
railing.
Yeah, the railing. He turns around, and he sees his dad reanimated, and he falls over the side and breaks his neck.
And dies.
Yeah, and then it cuts to outside. It's sunny. It's the next day.
And you hear over the radio is like, well, we're in for another day. It's 4 straight days of sunshine. So
no storm.
So the storm was completely fabricated.
Yeah.
or it was in their minds, like she was clouding their minds.
Yeah. Even to the point where they thought that there was a tree on top of the cellar door.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
It cuts back. Burke is walking through the now crime scene. He comes to the door. He looks through the little hole that the axe made in the door.
The lieutenant has said, like, again, there's no forcible entry.
Yeah, it looks like Austin, and Bert cuts her off. He's like, I've known this family for 20 years. This is
they would not have done that because she was trying to implicate that Austin had killed everybody
and then
committed suicide. And he's like, no.
Which is exactly what they thought what they thought happened at the last.
But they were like, but Burke is like, no,
nope,
I've known this family my entire life, for 20 years. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, what do you want to do with her?
And then it pans down, and there's Jane laying on the slab.
Yeah,
still.
just perfect.
Again.
And the room had basically there's no damage to the room because like before there was like scorch marks from the fire and like broken glass. It's back to being pristine.
Yeah, the only damage is the door.
The door. It's the only damage that is done to the room is what the real people did.
Yeah,
Tommy.
None of the stuff that happened
Jane did
that she did is even there. And then the lieutenant's like, "What do you want us to send them to? Whatever." Blah, blah.
He's just down the road a little bit.
And he's like, "No, send her to ECU.
Get her out of my
out of my county. I don't want to deal with this anymore."
Yeah.
And which is, I get it. If he's a small town sheriff, he has no explanation for this woman.
Yeah.
He's just like, and now 3 more people are dead.
And I don't have an explanation for it.
I don't have an explanation for it. So the last shot is we get her loaded up into the ambulance,
the coroner's van.
Yeah, the coroner's van, and the driver is kind of changing the stations, and of course that fucking song plays on the radio. Mm-hmm. We pan down Jane as her face, and all the way down to her toe where she has the toe tag on, and then her little toe move or her big toe moves,
and you hear it, ding, and then it goes to black
and credits.
Yeah, credits.
Yeah, and
that was the Autopsy of Jane Doe. Wow. Huh?
Yes, it was.
Well, you made it through.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think I was gonna make it.
I mean, I listen. You didn't think you were gonna make it. I believed in you. So let's talk about ratings. On IMDb, it's got a 6.8 out of 10. Not bad. I think that if more people watched it, the ratings would go higher.
Yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes is like 86%.
80% critics, 71% audience. Some people, some of the negative reactions to the movie was it started out strong and then it kind of lost a little bit towards the end. I think because it kind of slowed down right around the elevator scene and stuff like that. But
I think that's great fucking character work.
It was great character work.
What would you rate it?
Where are you going to rate this on your scarometer?
Oh, my scarometer. Now, may not be fair because of all the mental turmoil I put myself through the last couple of days before we watch this. What is it? Do we do 1 through 5?
No, it was a 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
One is this is a movie for babies, and 10 is, oh my God, there's spiders in my colostomy bag.
Yeah. I just shit my pants.
I think it's a solid 7.
Ooh.
That's the highest. That's
the highest one we've gotten so far.
7.
It's the highest on the scarometer so far.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about anxiety and how you can literally psych yourself out to basically talk yourself out of anything.
Mm.
But once I actually just buckled down and started watching the movie, because I'm a coward. When it comes to scary movies, I'm a coward. So for me going into it, I had this idea in my mind that this was going to be the worst situation. Like, I would caution anybody going in to watch this, just watch it. Don't do any research. Don't watch the trailer. Just watch the movie.
Watch it alone.
Be in the moment instead of creating the moment.
Now I will say that for the previous movies we watched, that the fun facts actually helped me to get through the movies.
This was the opposite.
I would say it actually did the opposite for me. It did not help me at all. It actually made things worse.
But you did appreciate her work in this
But
movie.
her work, yes. Now I have, like we've talked about, I have a little bit of acting. I've done some acting in my life, so I can appreciate. And I said many times when we were watching this movie, like, she is killing it. Like, dude, she literally made you think she was a dead body.
So here's my question. Could you have done that? Laying there on that slab, dick out for everybody for 5 straight days, maybe working up 12 to 14 hours a day?
Well, maybe with the same training she had, yes.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you had the yoga training.
Like everything she's gone through, like I could probably do that.
Every time I watch that movie, I try to see. I was like, do I ever see her?
No,
and you never do.
Never. She controls her breathing because she takes very shallow breaths.
And at one point, they pick her up. Even.
Yeah,
and she
stays so very
as fuck, dude. I'm
so
just
good.
like, she.
I mean, there are times when her mouth is just open.
Yeah, for extended period
of time.
Yeah,
it's really neat. I mean, I know it's like intercut shots and stuff like that, so she probably only. But there are times when they have like the profile shots of her, and she's that way, and her like head's like leaned back. Man, it's so good.
Yeah.
God, she's great.
Yeah, that was really good.
So I have a feeling we're gonna forget to do this in the future on Halloween. But who do you think had the best credit score in this movie?
Probably Jane Doe.
She didn't even have a credit score.
I don't know.
She's from 1693. She ain't got no credit scores. There's such thing as credit score in Salem. If anybody had tried to give someone a credit score in 1693, they would have burned them as a witch.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's probably Brian Cox.
I would actually go with Burke.
Well, yeah, either one of those two. Probably not Austin. He probably has like
he's young.
He probably has student loans and stuff like that.
No. You know that woman at the very beginning, like the very first dead body you see.
Her.
She has the best credit.
It was a nice house.
It was a
very nice house.
Well, I'm sure that the other people
100% in Virginia and not in England.
No, not at all.
Yeah, she has the best credit score.
Okay. So I think I know who Kendall's MVP is. Who's your MVP?
I mean, I really. Okay, it's a toss up for me.
It's actually really tough for me.
It's tough because she did such a good job.
Yeah, her name was Olwen Kelly.
Olwen Catherine Kelly.
Yeah, it was just
she's Jane Doe in the movie. But Jane Doe probably a very light first because the dad is also absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's who I would have.
He does such a good job.
Well, I feel like it's unfair to ask who an MVP is when in any movie Brian Cox is in it because Brian Cox almost always is going to he's going to give me like my Daniel Day-Lewis of MVPs. If he's in a horror movie, he's getting it.
He's so good. Because that would be mine. I would give it to Brian Cox. I think.
Well,
Brian
he was
Cox,
almost the MVP in the ring. I mean,
he kills everything he's in.
He killed that scene where. I mean, that's a terrible scene.
Yeah.
But
who's your LVP?
It's like that did the worst.
Yeah, I think it's that guy. It's got to be that police. The deputy, the Burke's deputy.
She's fine, I guess, but there's not really.
There's not even very many people in this movie.
And there's not like a really a bad performance.
No. There's 5 people. Okay, there's extras obviously that have no speaking lines. There's 5 cast members
that have speaking lines.
4 that have speaking lines. 5 if you count Jane.
Yeah, sure.
The cat even did really well.
Yeah, Stanley.
The cat had a speaking line, and some of the police that were walking around didn't, because the cat was like.
Yeah, there's people in this movie that fall below the animal in this movie.
Yeah, there are people. The Stanley deserves. By the way, the Stanley's real name is Sydney. You did a great job.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
great job.
Yeah, great job.
You deserve meow mix all day.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would give that to the lieutenant because Burke's killing it. Emma's really good in this movie.
There's really nobody.
Yeah, but Emma's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I mean, not really.
She's a curious little girl.
She's curious, and then she's
LVP, the third dead body you see in the first scene.
I don't even know anything about that person.
Yeah, but he just didn't look as cool dead as the rest of them. Oh, man, I was thinking that was going to kill. No, it didn't. All right.
I'm trying to remember who the third
I'm trying to remember who the third dead body was.
Yeah, he just had this weird face. And I was just like...
so it wasn't the burn guy.
No, I'm talking about the
in the house.
in
at
the
very
house
beginning.
when they're very dead.
Oh,
When the
yeah,
So, like,
like
I'm-
you see
yeah,
the woman, then
way-
you see what I suspected was the husband,
Mm.
and then there's some other just random dead person. That guy, and he had a weird expression on his face. I'm like, okay,
what
you
the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, it's like, what were you just over for coffee or? You know, like,
Wow.
I'm like, why were you even there?
Wrong
Weird
place.
old third wheel guy.
Wrong place.
Fucking time to have coffee,
Yeah,
bitch.
you got locked in and you're fucked. So yeah, LVP for me
Okay.
was the third dead body
Fair
you
enough.
see in the house.
Fair enough.
That's
All right.
fair.
Where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Smarky MFer on Blue Sky X, Critappets13 on Instagram.
Okay. Kendall, can we find you anywhere yet?
I am an enigma.
Okay. I am Gallus Dracon on all the things. That is TikTok, Blue Sky, for however long we have TikTok left. I think it's at this point. I actually think when this episode comes out, it will be probably less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I probably won't be posting any more videos to TikTok because what's the
What's
fucking
the
point?
fucking point?
What's
It's
the
just a
fucking point?
waste. It's just a waste of time.
Waste of time, and it's killing my It's killing my phone battery, and this is the phone I'm going to be buried with. So, but we are on Blue Sky at Kendall Hates Horror. We're on Twitter, also KH.
Twatter. You're on that
K-
twatter,
KH.
making them
K-
twats.
Shut up.
KHH Pod on Twitter. And then Kendall Hates Horror on Instagram.
Good God. Shut up.
I told you guys I had beer for
I
you.
know. I know you did. We're also, you can email us. You can email Kendall to tell him to shut up at khhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. Send us emails.
Make sure that's in the subject line.
Yeah, Kendall, shut up.
All right.
Shut the fuck up.
You can also find us at khhorror. You can find our website, khhorror.podbean.com. Give you links to all of the different places that you could listen to us. We are finally live on YouTube. Feel free to go listen to us there. Leave us some comments on the YouTube videos. Go to whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. Please leave us a rating. I don't care if it's a 5-star. I mean, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating, but if it's a 1-star rating, that's fine too. Just rate it. That way people are getting more eyes on it. Leave us comments on the YouTube videos. We're not doing videos right now because we need a camera.
Yeah. Make sure if you're going on the YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us.
Yep.
Give us a like.
Yep.
And then same thing on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Give us you can leave us a comment. Give us a
Yep.
review. We prefer 5 stars, but if you don't feel like we deserve 5 stars, don't give us 5 stars.
Give us some constructive criticism. If
Appease-
you're gonna bash us,
Appease the algorithms. I will steal something from the Elder Dragon Hijinks YouTube channel. Click the things that make the dings. So go to YouTube and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. Share it. Whatever you feel like you can do. And if you don't want to do any of that, just put it on in the background. Mute it. Walk away from it. Let it play. All right. Any parting words?
You can go fuck yourselves. No, I'm just joking.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego. He was actually just reading it off of a card. Damn it, he's such a professional.
he will read
reads everything.
anything on the teleprompter.
Yeah. Kendall, parting words?
I love you all.
Oh.
I'm so glad I made it through that.
God,
Oh my lord.
I'm so glad I checked your oral on Wednesday when you were here.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So my parting words are everybody be nice to each other.
Oh, I have a parting word.
Oh, okay.
If you're gonna sag your pants and you're gonna show your ass, nobody likes that.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know where it came from, but I love it, and we're
No,
gonna leave it.
I was walking at work today, and some motherfucker had about 10 inches of ass hanging out there.
That was
and I was
honestly
like,
one of the most boomer things I've ever heard him say.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Why? What? I know you can feel that.
It's chilly outside.
Where are you in your life to where you don't care about 10 inches of ass hanging?
This is mid-December in Kansas.
Yeah.
It's chilly outside,
Yeah.
so he's definitely getting a breeze down the crack.
Yeah, come on, guys.
So-
Get your fucking life together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nobody likes that.
No.
It doesn't look cool. So,
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
all right. Okay, Boomer. All right, guys. Have a good one. Come back and see us.
Wahoo!